What's up, guys? Welcome to That's Dope. You already know it's Thursday with your girl Zaida Lisa. So come on in, guys. We have an amazing show tonight. Tonight is going to be almost one of my favorite shows thus far. And that's really hard because I think here at Mama's we have some amazing guests. But I will tell you why tonight's show is so fucking amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. This amazing woman who is coming on my show is everything for me. She is not only a friend, she is a bomb ass Latina. She is from my old neighborhood. We played basketball together. We played baseball together. She is an amazing human being. And I can't wait to share Mamas with you guys. So let me bring on my girl herself, the professional boxer, the 10-time Golden Gloves champ, the 8 U.S. national titles, Christina Cruz, guys. Let's bring her on. She is so fucking dope.
I am nervous, and y'all know I'm not nervous for nobody. I am never nervous.
What's up, girl? How are you?
How are you? Welcome to Mama's Cocktail Hour. I first want to say thank you for coming on to this platform. You are everything women empowerment, so I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you. So do you. I feel like the last time we saw each other, we were kids.
Yo, and let me tell you, I have butterflies right now because I feel, you know what it feels like? It just feels like when you're kind of connecting with an old friend. I've been seeing what you've been doing all over the internet, just watching your stuff. And I am so happy for you. I
Thank
really
you so
am.
much.
And I want to say, like, you are bomb for so many women. Many women. And that's why I had to have you on Mama's Cocktail Hour, because we love to preach women empowerment, and you, my love, are like the epitome of women empowerment.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. I'm so happy that I have connected with you, and I'm so happy to see that you're doing these podcasts with your friends. I watched one of your last episodes and it was awesome. I loved it.
Oh, thanks, T.
Yeah.
All right, so you know what? Let's start it off. Let's introduce you. Like I said, guys, she is now a undefeated, because I just saw you win your first professional fight.
Thank you. Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And we'll dive more into that later.
Okay.
But like I said, guys, she is a 10-time Golden Glove champion. You are a 8-time U.S. You have 8 U.S. national titles, correct?
Yes.
All right. And it looks like you were 2020 Puerto Rico. You was on the 2020 Puerto Rican Olympian team, correct?
So I was I was on the Olympic qualifying team. There's a story behind that, why I didn't get to go to the Olympics due to the pandemic. A lot of my following knows that right now, but that's what turned me to go pro.
And we're going to talk about that, guys. We're going to talk about what made Tina go pro. But before we go to the present, I love to always talk about somebody's past, because I think the past is so important in your present. And we talk about that on my show, That's Dope, all the time. How you have to go back before you go forward.
Right.
So let's talk about where we grew up, in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
How was it that growing up in Hell's Kitchen, right, in the 90s, when sports was most likely, all a male-dominated sport, how did you deal with that? Because I know I struggled with that myself.
I was really good at ignoring the noise, and to be honest, I was blessed to have my male friends who were super supportive of me and very they were always defending me wherever we went. So whether it was playing baseball in the Bronx and people talking shit on the sidelines,
Facts.
I always had the guys backing me up. My cousin Peter, especially, I have so many stories with him. But I was very supported by the guys that I played with, and so it made it easy for me to ignore the noise on the outside.
I can agree because I think when you kind of grow up playing sports, especially because we know Tina and I both played basketball together. We played baseball together. So that's how we knew each other. We both grew up in the same neighborhood.
Right.
Um, what do you think was one of your biggest struggles, like transitioning from elementary school to high school? Because high school is a different realm when you hit sports because it's a
Right.
lot more competitive than elementary school.
Right. So I just remember, this is how I remember from my adolescent years in elementary school heading into high school. I always played with guys because there
Yep.
was no girls playing sports. So I was always the only girl on the team. And then it wasn't until I got to high school when I started playing with girls, and it was just like, it was a lot different. A lot of the attention was more on me. I was, very athletic.
Yes.
And it was just, it was a little weird at first, I guess, because I was so used to playing with the guys and playing at that level with them that transitioning to the girls, it was, I guess, a little catty at first
Yes.
with the
That no,
girls like
don't
on.
say yes.
Yes.
It's so true. It's so true. You know why? Because boys are less catty and girls are more girls are definitely there's like this secret competition stuff.
Right, right. And I remember I didn't join the basketball team until I was in 10th grade because in ninth grade again I didn't come to my mind to be playing women's basketball. And I remember just playing in the gym with the guys and the males team the guys team, their basketball coach noticed me playing and came up to me and said, "Hey, um why don't you try out for the women's team?" And I was like, I don't know. She was actually
Yeah.
a female coach coaching the men's team. She's like,
Dope.
I'm gonna sign you up and you're gonna try out for them. And I just showed up and made the team. And then like
So
going
go
on
ahead,
the
go ahead.
team, the girls were a lot older than I were. There were a
Right.
lot of seniors, and they were looking at me, this little tiny 5'3", 5'4", little skinny Puerto Rican girl who's quick, and they were kind of like, okay, who's she? Where did she come from?
Yo,
Why wasn't she here last year?
yo, let me tell you something about Tina, guys. Tina had handle. Tina was quick, and there was no catching her. I was the person that was running up and down the court slow. But so you had a love for basketball. We know you had a love for baseball. When did that transpire into your love for boxing?
So after high school, like high school was, I thought it was the end of my athletic career.
Right.
And then, I started, just doing really regular things. Like I got a job, and at the age of 21, one of the guys from the neighborhood, Lucky, Yazzy's dad.
Yes, I know Lucky.
So yeah, so Lucky would come up to me every day. Every time he saw me downstairs hanging out with my friends, he would say, "Hey, I'm taking my son to the boxing gym. Come with us." And I was like, "I don't want to box. Are you kidding me? I'm 21 years old. What am I gonna do in the boxing gym?" And every day he would see me. He's like, "Tina, come with me, come with me." And then one day he saw me hanging out, and he was like, "You're coming with me to the gym." He threw me in a taxi with him and his son, Little Luck, and we went to the boxing gym. And the second I like walked in there, I fell in love with it. It was just like it was over. Nothing mattered.
Wow. So never
Yeah.
having, guys, let's put this in fucking perspective, guys. Never having picked up a glove ever, never boxing, age 21, you come into a sport and you excel at it.
Yes. I
There's gonna
picked
be a
up.
lot of girls on here hating, like, what? I've been saying since I was little.
Yeah. I picked up really fast. I was already athletic. I grew up with my two brothers, Ivan and Duke. So fighting with them was, it was normal. But
It was
picked up really fast, and I just went with it. I I dropped everything in my life, everything, friends, vacations, family, everything. I dropped everything and just solely focused on that. And
How
now I'm here.
how was started from the bottom, now you here, girl. How was that transition? How was that transition of, because I talk a lot on That's Dope about like following your purpose, right? And when you started to kind of go to the gym every day and you started to focus primarily on boxing, did you lose a lot of friends because people were like, what are you doing? Why are you not spending a lot of time with me? Do you feel like there was a big transition in losing the people that you thought, that you cared about, that probably didn't understand your vision?
Right. So I've been pretty lucky to have my friends be super supportive. But at first,
Mm.
I had family members like, "What are you doing? In boxing, you're gonna get punched in the face. You're gonna mess up your face. Like, boy, you're gonna make a career out of this." I've had that. But as far as my friends, they always knew I love sports. They always knew that outside of my friendship from them, I had my other athletic life
Mm.
that I lived. So they were very supportive of that. They all would show up to my fights and things like that. So I've been pretty blessed with that part. But I did have some people say, like, you're gonna break your nose. You're too pretty, or this or that.
Well, you are absolutely gorgeous. So yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
not gonna lie. I'm scared of your face too. I saw your first professional fight, and I was like, oh no, Tina, dodge it, dodge it. I was like so into it. So how did we know when you were kind of playing for when you were paying for Team USA, because you played for Team USA, and when you played for Puerto Rico, that was different. There was a transition when you went from that and you went to professional boxing. Let's talk about that.
So that's a good question. Well, first I'll talk about the transition from Team USA to the Puerto Rican team.
Puerto Rico.
So with Team USA, it's very different. You're very taken care of.
Really?
Yes, so they have your schedule for the year. Everything's paid for. You're getting a monthly stipend, things like that. And I had that. I made the national team in 2007, and I ended at 2020 and transferred to Puerto Rico in 2020. So it was a very privileged experience that I got with Team USA. And then when I transferred to the Puerto Rican team, it was a little different. Whereas the Puerto Rican Olympic Committee doesn't have the funds that some like Team USA has, not the funds, the sponsors. So that was a little different. But in my mind, I only had one goal, so it didn't really bother me. I wasn't getting funded with the Puerto Rican national team, or as much as I was with
For
Team
Team
USA.
USA?
Yes, and training was a little different. The environment was different. We weren't in these beautiful boxing gyms with sports med and all the doctors and the massage therapists and this and that. So that was a bit of a transition. And then transitioning just from an amateur boxer to a pro boxer is very
Mm.
different. People don't realize how hard amateur boxing really is, especially at a high level when you're competing at a national team level, international level. You're 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 busy all year round. You really don't have time to do anything. And when you're fighting in a tournament, you could fight up to 7 times in a tournament, depending how many people are in your bracket. So in one week, I could fight 7 times. In Olympic trials, I fought 7 times. And then the second part of our qualification procedure, which was in Bulgaria, I fought 6 times. So I fought about 11, 12, 13 times within 2 months. So
Wow.
yes, and not only that, you're weighing in every day you fight. So if I'm fighting 5 times in a tournament, I have to weigh in 5 days in a row. Well, every day that I'm fighting. So you're making weight. By the third fight, your body's just is completely drained, and it becomes mental after that. And
Mm-hmm.
then transitioning into the pros, it's a lot different. You get to weigh in the day before the fight. So you have
Wow.
24 hours to rehydrate. And you're taken care of, your coach, you have your team, you have everyone booking everything for you. You're only fighting once. You're only fighting about 4 times a year, to be honest. If you're lucky, 5 or 6. But so it's a
So
little
it's more
slower.
restful.
It's more restful, slower pace. I have time, I guess, in between to do other things, even though it's still my main focus.
So what was one of the most scary things for you transitioning from, from the Puerto Rican team over to a professional boxer playing in Madison Square Garden, where we grew up only a couple of blocks away? What was that feeling like for you?
Oh man, so the dream was never to turn pro, to be honest. The dream was to go to the Olympics and then retire. That was the plan.
Wow.
Whenever anyone asked me, would you ever turn pro? I would tell them no, no, no. There was times in the past where I flirted with the thought before, but I never took that step because the Olympic dream was always there. And then in 2020, 5 days before qualifiers, we were supposed to go to Argentina so I could qualify. So I made the Puerto Rican team.
Ooh.
Now you have to so now you have to qualify your spot internationally. So 5 days before qualifiers, when I was gonna qualify my spot in 2020, Argentina closed down because of the pandemic. They didn't let anyone in, so they canceled the qualifiers and they were gonna postpone it.
Wow.
So they ended up postponing it until next year, 2021, because they postponed the Olympics as well. And again, same thing happens 2 weeks before leaving the qualifiers, they cancel it. And they cancel it indefinitely, saying the Americas, our continent, cannot qualify your spot for the Olympics, and we're going to go by this procedure and do it. And the new procedure that they created, I didn't fall within it. So I didn't get selected to go. Yeah, and it's like the first time in boxing history, in Olympic boxing history, that happened. Not only did Americans not get their chance to qualify their spot fairly, they allowed the European games to go on, the Asian games. So all the other continents got to qualify their spot. They got to fight for their spot in the Olympics, whereas in America, they went by some ranking system that they based off of. They based off of tournaments from 2 and 3 years ago that I didn't go to. So I didn't get any ranking points. So I didn't end up going to the Olympics. And then from there, I came back to my coach. I didn't feel good about that. It was very upsetting. I trained for this 17 years.
Woo.
And yeah, I sat with it. I was so hurt. But it was out of my control. So there was nothing I can do about it. Went back to my coach. And we just talked, and we talked about turning pro, and we came to the decision that it might be the right thing for me. So now I'm here.
Girl, you are here and you are killing it, because
Thank you.
I think all over the media, when I was doing my homework on you, because I told you I was doing my homework on you, I think everybody was asking. And shout out to everybody from Hell's Kitchen that joined. What's up, guys? We have, Hell's Kitchen Finest, like you guys put it in the captions. Christina Cruz with us today, and she is absolutely dope. And we had to have her on Mamas, because we are all about women empowerment here, and she is women empowerment all over.
Thank you.
What do you think is the biggest transition for you, Tina, when you moved from, obviously you talked about, the boxing gyms were a little less, but now that you moved to pro, how often are you training? How often are you traveling a lot? How has the transition been?
So as far as training has stayed the same. I'm still training 4 or 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. On the 6th day, which is Saturday, it's only one session, so it's about 2 hours the longest. So the training kind of stayed the same. As far as traveling, I'm not traveling as much, so it's kind of nice to be able to enjoy home and being home, and being able to enjoy my friends, and now go to family barbecues. I fly into New York once every month or every 2 months to see everyone.
Wow.
So I have more time for myself as, an individual. So that's pretty nice. But the training has stayed the same.
Really?
Yeah.
And so I always had this question for boxers, right? So how do you okay. So I know there's so many guys in the comments that probably want to know if Tina is single. Is Tina?
Oh my God.
I know this is an important question, Tina, because you are absolutely gorgeous and you're badass.
Thank you.
Are you single or are you taken?
This is you putting me on the spot right now.
You don't have to answer.
Okay,
You can say I'll plead the fifth, and I'm cool with that.
No. I am single. I am single.
You are single.
Yeah. I've been single for quite a while now. I was in a long relationship with a great guy. We're kind of in two different places now, so we decided to break up, and we're still very good friends. And I'm single.
All right. So my next question for all the guys that are probably laughing in the comments and are like, "Yes, I'm gonna shoot my shot," is, do you feel like guys are intimidated by you because you can possibly knock them out?
I think guys are intimidated by me, but not because I can knock them out. I think just the person that I am and the life that I live, it's not easy. It's not for the weak-minded.
Yes.
With all the traveling and even just like sitting there watching me get punched in the face, it's hard for people.
Yes.
But yeah, I think they're just more intimidated by my lifestyle rather than I can kick their ass.
You can definitely kick their ass, and on top of that, you're a busy person.
Yes.
Thanks for that, because I know that there were so many people jumping in the comments asking that.
It's funny because I do the questions thing on Instagram, right? Like the questions thing where people ask you, and people ask me that question all the time, and I just like totally ignore it. So now you guys know.
Now you guys know our Mama's Cocktail Hour. You hear it here first, so you guys need to like, subscribe, all of that. And definitely follow Tina and her amazing journey. But Tina, what do you have to say to women out there who are possibly, trying to get into the boxing game or are currently boxing? What advice would you give them?
I would just tell them to do it and don't hesitate. Ignore what everyone says, anything negative that anyone says, and just do what you want to do. I've always been about doing, like, every day, living my life, doing the things that I want to do, no matter who says anything. I don't care how close you are to me or how far you are from me. I need to do what I want to do. And if you want to do it, just do it.
I think that's amazing advice. And I feel like I say that all the time on my platform. And it was so funny, right? Because guys, I haven't spoken to Tina since we were probably teenagers.
Yeah.
I'll be 35. I'll be 35 in November. And I was like, when I reached out to you, it was like, what I love about you is that you are so down to earth. Guys, Tina is the most down to earth person you will ever meet. And when I reached out to you, you said, I'm so happy you're doing a podcast. It's so your knack. It's so you. Mm-hmm. And when I started this, kind of like you, I felt like, oh my God, I'm 30 something years old. I have 3 kids. Like, what am I doing starting a podcast? But it was something that I loved. So yeah. I say that to say that I love that regardless of what, you followed your passion. You followed what it is that you wanted to do. Right. And so what do you hope for in your professional career boxing?
Of course, to become world champion. That's the goal as a athlete boxer, as a pro boxer. But I do hope that it presents other opportunities for me. There are some things, like personal goals that I have for myself that have to do with helping others. And that's basically what my goals are. I have some stuff that I don't want to say out loud, because I don't want anyone to know, because I feel like, and not because it's pressure or anything, but just like I just don't want to put it out there and then it not happen, and I'm like, oh, I understand. You know what I mean?
But let me tell you something. You're gonna make it happen. I know you're gonna make it happen, because you're that type of person. You lead with action. And anything that you want, whether it's inspiring little girls, because I can kind of see that. I don't know if that's it, but I can see you inspiring little girls that want to fight or maybe want to play sports, but are in that awkwardness of thinking. And I know me and you can relate, right? I played sports, you played sports, and when we played it, we were in this awkward field where it was kind of like, oh, is she a town boy? You know?
We were 90s kids, and it wasn't socially accepted yet for us to be playing these male dominated sports.
And it was the most weirdest thing because as I felt like for me, in my opinion, was growing up is like when I was playing sports, automatically the boys were like, oh, she's a town boy or this. And it was just like naturally I was someone who was super competitive.
Right, right.
You know, and I saw that in you too. I mean, for me to see you boxing and how quick you move, I was like, yeah, that's definitely her because she was dusting everybody on the court.
Yeah, that's me, little Tina.
Little Tina dusting people. But so go ahead. You said you were gonna say something about what your hopes were, but I don't think you were gonna say it all. But you were gonna say something.
Well, no, I mean that was basically it. My hopes are to be able to give back, to be able to give
Yes.
back to the sport, especially because it has given me so much, um, and just keep inspiring.
I love that. I think that
Thank-
you are an amazing inspiration. I think that women all over are going to look at you and say that regardless of age or where you come from or your family or whatever you're going through in your life, that if you put your mind to something, you can absolutely succeed. So that's what I think was
Right.
so dope. What you still haven't told me about how you felt about playing in Madison Square Garden
Oh man.
or boxing
So
rather.
yeah, boxing. I was gonna correct you on that.
You
We don't
playing
play
ball for the Knicks.
boxing. Right, right. I actually as an amateur, I fought in Madison Square Garden 6 times, or maybe seven.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually made history there by breaking Mark Breland's Golden Glove record, which was 5, and I beat it at 6. And then
Wow.
I ended up getting 10 after that. But so I made history there. And when they told me that I was fighting my pro debut there as a pro, I was just like, I was in awe. I was so happy. Um, and it was just like an amazing fit. I'm fighting home. We grew up near Madison Square Garden, like walking distance. Like that is a dream come true.
It is so a dream come true. So I am
Yeah.
so happy that you were able to kind of make that dream a reality because I can't even imagine. What was the difference? Like I know the difference when you were playing for kind of Team USA was that you had a head guard on. Now when you play pro, was
Right.
was your first game nerve-wracking because you didn't have that on?
So, so first of all, I have about 200 amateur fights, right?
Mm.
And and I still get nervous. So those same nerves as they were in the amateurs, it was the same kind of nerves in the pros. I know that when I am in front of a big crowd in like Madison Square Garden, I always perform my best. Um,
Mm.
I feed off of that nervous energy the best. So that wasn't much of a difference. It crossed my mind at how much it would probably hurt getting hit compared to with headgear. But to be honest, when I was in there, your adrenaline's so high, you don't feel anything. I didn't feel anything.
Wow.
I actually got headbutt and I got cut. I had a stitch here. You couldn't really see it on camera. She headbutted me in the last round, cut me open. But I didn't even know I was cut when I came back to my corner. The cut man was like, "Oh my God, she cut you." And I was like, "Oh." But your adrenaline's so high,
So you don't feel it.
you don't feel it. Yeah.
So let's talk about your reach, girl, because your reach is you're a tall girl, so that reach,
Yeah.
that girl could not get you. It looks like she was trying, but
Right.
I love your jabs. I love everything about your
Thank
quickness.
you.
I love how you move around.
Thank you.
You are gonna go far in the pros. So right now you're undefeated.
Mhm.
Is there any talks about any new fights coming up in the future?
So, I spoke to my coach and my manager, and we're hoping to find something in October. We're not
Nice.
sure where yet, but an announcement will be coming soon.
Oh my God, guys, you heard it
Yeah.
first. Tina's gonna be fighting again. If you guys have not checked out her fight, you can check it out. It's all over YouTube. It was on August 3rd. You fought India Smith. Is that her name?
Yes, India Smith, who's a very nice girl, by the way. Afterwards, we got to chat a bit, and she was a tough little cookie. She kept coming.
She was super tough. And you know what I loved most about you that guys, if you guys watch this fight, you can see one thing. You were hugging her out after after, after every session, you would go and you would like, you
Yeah.
have such great sportsmanship. Like it wasn't no
Thank you.
aggression. It wasn't nothing. It was all love. So you guys are friends and you guys are
Right.
cool. And I love that you keep that sportsmanship. It's so dope.
Yeah, I think it's important. She's my opponent. She's not my enemy. You know what I mean? Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Tina. So my last question for you, because I can have you on
uh-oh.
here all night, guys. So my last question for you, Tina, is where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That is a good question. I see myself a world champion, of course. Within the next year and a half, um I do dabble in real estate outside of this.
Nice.
So I see myself going down that road and hopefully with family and possibly starting family.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, Tina, I want to thank you so much for coming on Mama's Cocktail Hour and even blessing us with your presence because, like I said, like you are so woman empowerment and I love everything that you're doing. And I hope that you'll come back again when you're world champion and talk to everyone and tell them how that experience is because I know it's only
Definitely.
going to be a matter of time before you get there. But tell us where we can find you. If you have I know you have a website, if you want to shout that out so that people can go on your website and see what you're doing or see any upcoming events.
Yeah, so my website is ChristinaCruzBox.com. You can actually buy some merch on there. Um, you guys
Buy some
already
merch.
follow me. You guys already follow me on Instagram, but on Twitter, I'm Christina Boxing. I'm not big on Twitter yet. I have a lot of followers and I'm starting to get more active on it. I normally just get on Twitter though when there's a big fight on TV and I want to talk. I want to talk about it, so I'll get on Twitter. Yeah, yeah. Um,
So they can find
but
you on
yeah,
Instagram and they can find you on your website and you guys can buy some merch, buy some Tina merch. I'm actually going to go on there and buy some merch because I want to support you, girl. I'm going to make sure
thank
all
you.
my mamas here come and buy some merch for my girl, Tina.
Thank
Tina, I
you.
want to say thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. And shout out to my Instagram followers for tuning in and yours as well. So
Yes, thank you guys for coming on to That's Dope. Thank you for watching me and Christina's interview. Christina, I wish you all the best, and I know I'm going to see you at the top.
definitely
Bye.
we gotta do this again. I loved it. I
Yes,
loved it.
let's do it again, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, love.
All right,
Bye,
later.
guys.
Bye.